Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be taking you outside to share with you my deck and backyard spaces that are all ready for some enjoyable downtime this summer, which I'm very much looking forward to. This summer, I wanted to create some cozy, relaxing spaces using things that I already had, like outdoor furniture and accessories. And let's not forget about the flowers. I'm completely obsessed with container gardening lately. It seems like every single time I go to the store, I come home with another container filled with gorgeous, cheerful flowers, and I just can't seem to stop myself. The solar lantern is one of two which I bought from Menards years ago, and I absolutely love them. I'll link something very similar down below in the description box if you're interested. I have picked up a tried and true flowers, which I know will work well for me, like this container from Walmart that has petunias and a few other annuals that I have had success with in the past. I've also picked up a few new to me flowers like this ivy geranium, which had me very intrigued. I picked up these metal saucers from Walmart and I absolutely love them. The deck area gets full sun pretty much all day long. Having something to collect the overflow from when I'm watering is very helpful. The plants seem to like it as well, and they don't get dried out nearly as quickly. I picked up this plant, which I absolutely fell in love with, and I think it's called a double petunia. I'm not really sure because I forgot to keep the label, but I think it is just so pretty, and I love the pink. I was able to create a nice little seating area using items I've found or collected over the years. The table itself is from my in-laws years ago. The two chairs were thrifted. The rug was from Hobby Lobby last year, and the umbrella I've had for a few years. And once I had it all set up, of course, I needed to add some flowers and a little bit of decor to add a little personality to the space. I added 2 pots of flowers. The pink million bells I picked out, and my daughter picked out the red and white petunias. I added 2 tea light lanterns, which I picked up at IKEA a couple of years ago to add a little nighttime ambiance. And then this adorable birdcage tea light I just recently found at the thrift store, and I just had to add it into the mix because I think it is so adorable. Off to the side, I have a small table that I'm using to hold one of my favorite plants right now. It's called a Calibra croa. I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I call it million bells. That's the common name, and I absolutely love this plant. It takes a lot of water, but oh, they're so gorgeous when they're in full bloom. And then on one of my mini trips to the garden center, I found this plant. I do not know the name of it. I keep thinking I should look it up. It didn't have a tag, but I think it is really cool. I love their very unique flower heads, and it has a very strong scent to it, which the dogs absolutely love. They always stop and give it a little sniff as they go past. The deck has become one of my favorite places to spend a little bit of time each day as the sun comes up. The rest of the day while I'm outside, I normally spend it in the backyard. And this is a space that I have decided to keep pretty low-key and simple because that's how I'm feeling lately. I did inherit these 2 garden beds when I moved in, and they are now the perfect place to grow my zinnias that I absolutely love. Rayma loves sitting close to these as well because I have a bird feeder very close to this area, and she sits there and waits and watches the birds. She looks forward to it every single day. And then I also have this garden bed as well. The previous owners had placed a trampoline here, and you may remember that last year I turned it into a garden bed, and it is doing very well this year. The 3 hydrangea shrubs and the lilac bush that I planted all survived the winter, which I was very pleased about. However, the small plants, like the coneflowers and the coreopsis, are getting eaten by the rabbits. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that, but I'm still trying to struggle to keep them alive. But in the meantime, I decided to add some brick pavers around the outside of the garden bed and then added some fresh mulch for the summer. And then I have the area underneath the deck that I wanted to add a little personality to as well. This is a spot that I use the most throughout the day when I want to enjoy a little fresh air. I added a lot of potted flowers this year, and I didn't really notice it was happening when I was at the garden centers, but somehow or another, I ended up with a lot of pink flowers, which is totally okay, and it kind of blends all together, which is really nice. But look at these. I have some million bells, some petunias, some geraniums, just a nice little mixture of easy to grow plants that I can take care of this summer. I also have this little area where I have my chair, and I use this bucket as a little side table that holds my watering cans. And you can basically bet if I'm not inside, I'm sitting out here with the dogs not far away. Next to the seating area is my potting bench that I built. I can leave that video link down below if you're interested. And I have filled it up with little items that make me happy, like vintage tools, like this one right here. I use it all the time. I love the little pop of yellow. It's like my favorite hand tool. And of course, I had to add some sort of a shade-loving plant, so I picked out a double impatient, which I have never tried before, and I absolutely love it. It gets these gorgeous like rose bud shaped flowers on it, but I'm having troubles. They get to this stage right here and then the whole bud just falls off. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I need to do a little research. So if you know, I would really appreciate you telling me in the comments, because it is so frustrating. And if there's something that I can be doing to avoid it, I would very much like to know. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but I have a growing collection of these house eagles. They used to be over like the front door of old houses back in the day, and I just think they're so cool. So I thought it would be fun to add one to my potting bench, and I think it turned out really cute, and I absolutely love it. On the small shelf above, I have a cast iron bird, a couple vintage hand tools that I have found, and some clay pots. On the bottom section, I have more buckets and watering cans. On the other side of the doorway, I started a container garden. And then further down the side of the house, I added another grouping. This spring, I started some seeds inside for my zinnias, and they were looking absolutely wonderful until about a week before I planted them into pots, and then they shot up and got all lanky. And as you can see, they're looking a little rough, but I am trying to give them a little chance, and we'll see what happens, I guess. I added a water feature, which I think is really fun. I used a bucket I already had and then surrounded it with rocks from my collection. I found the solar fountain on Amazon for under $20, and I just had to give it a try. This particular solar fountain have these adjustable arms that you can use to help keep the fountain in the middle of your container, which I find very, very helpful because the wind does like to blow it around. You can add different nozzles for different spray types, and then you can also adjust that to shorter and taller, and it's just a nice little gadget that adds a fun little touch to the garden for sure. I am thinking about getting another one for up top on the deck. I think that would be really fun, and I will leave a link down below in case you're interested. Moving to the opposite corner of the house, I have another grouping of containers. I added some geraniums and more of my zinnias. I tucked in a few larger rocks to add a little bit of interest. One of my kids talked me into buying this trellis, so I tried to find some sort of climber to go on it, but I couldn't find anything. The only thing I could find was this sweet potato vine in this dark rust color, which I'd never seen before. So I thought, all right, we'll go with that. We'll see if we can get it to train up that. And then off to the side, I added a endless summer hydrangea in a gorgeous pinky purple color, which I absolutely love. Added another couple of rocks and a sphere and another hydrangea shrub. And I'm really loving how this little area turned out. And then finally, on the side of the house, the previous owners made this little sandbox / deck area. And last year I used the sandbox area to grow some vegetables. So this year I thought I would make a little seating area and also grow some vegetables. This area has turned into Quinn's favorite place to hang out. I planted up 3 containers with 2 different types of very small pumpkins that I can use to decorate in the fall. So we'll see how that goes. I also planted 1 tomato plant. The rest of the sandbox I decided to turn into my little Zen garden. For a focal point, I decided to add a bird bath, which I've had for a really long time, and then I surrounded it with little stones and then used a rake to make a design around it, and I think it is so much fun. I am really loving how simple it is, but I really like how it looks. I, of course, need to switch out the water every single day so that Quinn has something to drink because she absolutely loves to use it as her own personal drinking fountain. And as you can see, she gets pretty cozy afterwards, just hanging out up here. And then finally, I made myself a cozy little seating area to enjoy the view. Added a couple chairs that I've had forever, a side table, some decor, and of course, I added a couple pots filled with gorgeous flowers. These are two-toned petunias, which are super easy to grow, and I love how full and lush they look, and I'm just loving this area. It is the perfect place every single afternoon. It gets nice shade. It's like a nice little nook all to myself, and I have a gorgeous little view, and I absolutely love it. So that, my friends, is going to be all for me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the spots that I've created for myself to enjoy these summer months. I would love to know what you think down in the comments, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye now.